Get ready for the world's greatest Arsenal podcast. Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Enjoy the show.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to our second preview show. This is game week 27. Myself, Trevor, will be joined by a couple of guests. Hopefully at least one guest. And we're going to talk about the upcoming games this weekend. There's Brentford versus Chelsea, Everton, West Ham, Fulham, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves, Spurs, Crystal Palace, Luton, Aston Villa, Burnley, Bournemouth. And we'll feature the three games that are all about the title race, Trevor. We'll feature Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Man City versus Man United, and of course our Monday night game against Sheffield, all the way up in Sheffield. Trevor, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I've only been in from work about 10 minutes, so it's been a bit of a rush job. Looking forward to this because I had a cracking result, didn't I, after the last one. I can't really concentrate because I'm a bit jealous of our guest tonight, Fergie, if I'm honest. I'm a bit jealous.
Well, we did push out the boat. You know, you got Daniel Radcliffe, and you've got who's the guy, 007. We've gone like from the man from Atlantis to the Dairy Milk Man. We've gone from Magic Mike.
Gentlemen. Good to be back on the old GNYR. Yes. It doesn't roll off the tongue necessarily, but
it's GNYR.
I'm getting ready to cross the pond tomorrow, so I figured, why not just do the podcast from a pond that happens to be in my backyard. So I'm here, and I'm with the two gentlemen who I am looking forward to spending my Monday night with next week.
Yeah, you're all the way out in Florida in the pool. I can't believe it. We're sitting. I've got a bloody stinking.
And for some reason, I'm leaving to come over to England, but no one ever said I was smart.
I've got a stinking cold. We're hoping Big T will join us back up, but he's had some connection problems, so he may or may not join us. As I said, we're going to go through the Premier League games, and in particular, we're going to look at the Forest game, the Man City, Man United game, and then our game on Monday night. Trevor, we need to talk first and foremost about this. We need to talk about the first podcast 2 weeks ago. We didn't do one last week because we're all knackered from Porto and we got delayed for so much, which actually got you more money. So Donna's watching. We won't talk about that.
No, she knows. It's okay.
It's okay. So Trevor's a grand up since 2 weeks ago. You done an ACCA. Talk us about this ACCA.
Well, we did the first preview show, didn't we? And I thought to myself, well, if we've gone on air and said what we think the results are going to be, then I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. So I had a fiver on 5 of my selections. And when I came out of Burnley, my phone I was in Burnley ground. Obviously, it didn't have much of a signal. When I come out, my phone was going mad in my pocket. Looked at my phone and there was a message from Alex. Have a quick look at your ACCA. And when I looked, I'd won 815 quid. So we were sort of walking towards Burnley Station and we did a quick right turn into the nearest pub and got absolutely ratted.
So Trev, this happened moments after you started singing to me in the toilet.
Yeah,
because I mean, how much better of a 20-minute span can you have than meeting me in the bathroom / toilet and then winning £800?
Yeah, the better one would he meet you in that pool.
Yeah, I should have spent the £800 on a flight to come over and see you, Mike. Looking at that background, mate, it's beautiful.
Sometimes this pool also doubles as a toilet, but it's much nicer than the one in Turf Moor House.
Too much information, mate.
Too much information. Tony, welcome back. You had a bit of a glitch on your network, so I'm hopefully it's all sorted. And let's start off 3 p.m. the City Ground. We're looking at Liverpool have a chance. The media is going on about this quadruple and Klopp, the leaving of Klopp, and everything else. Tony, the way Klopp is managing this young squad because he's got so many injuries, what's your expectations of this game, Liverpool away to Forest? He's frozen again.
He has with his eyes shut. Oh, he's back.
Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just about. Last chance, go on.
He's gone again.
All right.
The thing is, I've spent time with Tony in real life, and he does the same thing in the pub.
He does actually.
I've sat there for 10 minutes while he was buffering in the pub, and it's a lot. It's hard work, man.
Yeah, it's just a different phrases. That's terminologies. Mike, what's your expectations? Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. Nottingham Forest at the moment are have only 4 clean sheets versus Liverpool's 18 clean sheets. They've conceded 48 goals, and Liverpool have only conceded 25. Liverpool have had 18 wins, and Forest only 6. What are you expecting in this game?
I think the Liverpool we're going to see for most of the rest of the season, especially against bottom of the table clubs, is the Liverpool we saw against Luton last week. Might take a little bit of time to get into games. You might even see them drop a goal in the first half, and you start thinking, oh, maybe this is going to be one of the games that they drop points. But I'm actually right there with Dale. I think they've got enough strength. They're going through a bit of an injury patch. The youth in the cup doesn't really demonstrate what they're likely to do in the league if they have to play those teams, because Chelsea just absolutely bottled it. But I think they've got enough in the tank to do it. Obviously, Klopp. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the world for a reason, and he's going to more than likely bring them through this game. I don't think this is going to be one of the ones where we have a chance to pick up points on them.
Trev, a really unusual stat, which really surprised me when I was doing some of the research for this. They've got a quick turnaround. They've just had they've won the first piece of silverware against Chelsea in the League Cup. For me, I watched the Chelsea Liverpool game in bits. I was cooking dinner, and I thought Chelsea looked the better team for the 90 minutes, but Liverpool looked better in the extra time, and Chelsea looked a bit leggy. But Van Dijk got them the extra time winner. They played Southampton last night. They used more kids. They've got 12 injuries that went into that game. There's 2 or 3 that might be available for the weekend. But did you realise that Liverpool have not won at the City Ground in 13 meetings? And the last time they actually won a game at the City Ground was 1984.
Wow.
Yeah, I was aware that they hadn't won there for a long time, Ferg. It hasn't been the best of hunting grounds for Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, but I'm with the boys, mate. I think that, unfortunately for our great club, the Arsenal, I think Klopp saying he's going has definitely lifted the whole club. It has undoubtedly lifted the whole club, and they're playing really well. And like we said, and in games they're not playing so well, they're still grinding out results, which is always a sign of a team that's going places. So I'm with Mike, mate. I can't see Forest getting a single thing from this game. I think the Forest are going to win. I think Liverpool will win 3-0. I don't think Forest will score.
What does this fixture remind you of, by the way, when these two play? It's been a while, especially in the league. I mean, I guess it's been last year they played, but before that, with Forest being out of the top tier. But what does this fixture remind you of? I mean, it's not that hard of a question, but
old European football from many years gone back, isn't it?
I mean, this was Hillsborough. This was the fixture in Hillsborough, and I mean, having been at Highbury that day for Arsenal Newcastle and remembering how that all went and the murmurs going around the crowd, I just always think of that. I mean, I didn't need to bring a depressing topic into the conversation for no reason, but just whenever I see these two teams, the first thing I think about was March 1989 when that happened. And suffice it to say, I think there'll be less incident at this game, but Liverpool winning. So just a little historical perspective.
Tony, I think we got you back now on a decent connection. You're on mute at the minute, mate. But what are you expecting from this game? We type of covered a lot of the stuff, that they've got a lot of injuries, that they've got already picked up the first trophy. The media lovies are loving Liverpool and loving the exit of Klopp and his swan song that he's going to win the quadruple. What's your expectations of the game and what's your prediction? Your phone's no better, mate.
What kind of internet you got
Yeah,
to have over
apologies for
there?
the connection earlier, boys.
We're gonna have to give up on this.
Have you moved to Trev's old
Can you hear
house?
me?
Sorry, mate. We'll try again another time. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow and sort out that Sheffield ticket. Take it easy, mate. Cheers, mate. So I'm going to go for. Sorry,
Oh,
I'll ring him out.
heartless.
Heartless. I'm going. I was near.
Doesn't suffer fools internet.
I was going to go with Carlage that were a draw. Because I think without Allison in goal, with Gallagher, is it Gallagher? Is that his name in goal? Quiveen Gallagher. Quiveen Gallagher. It's Gallagher. If you're Irish, it's Gallagher. So yeah, and Quiveen being Kevin, the Irish for Kevin, my middle name, so I would know. He's been very good of recent time, but I think he's been a bit shaky before. Allison hasn't been great. They haven't kept that many clean sheets. They've only kept 8 clean sheets out of 26 games played. I think they will concede goals. I think Forest might get a couple of goals, but I think if Salah's available, I think Liverpool win this 3-2. Let's look at the
3-0, a 3-1, and a 3-2. Then that's not bad.
Yeah.
Trev, you went 3-1, did you?
3-0, 3-0.
3-0. Okay, so we're all thinking that Liverpool are going to score 3 goals. That's interesting. The fixture pile up that they're going to have, and we may have later on, which we may talk about at some point with the FA Cup draws and so on. It's going to be interesting how they're going to cope with that, especially with such an injury laden squad. Manchester City versus Manchester United is the Sunday kickoff. Actually, before we do the Sunday kickoff, let's look at the remaining fixtures on Saturday and see what we think about those first of all. So we have got Brentford versus Chelsea. What are we thinking about Brentford versus Chelsea? Trevor, have you got a score prediction on that one?
I think that Brentford got too much at home for Chelsea. I've got Brentford to win that one. I fancy Brentford to win 2-1.
Okay. Magic?
Brentford sure didn't look very good against West Ham the other day. It was a bit surprising to see them just completely acting like a sieve at the back. That one has the potential to have a lot of goals in it. I'm going to go 3-2 to Brentford.
3-2 for Brentford. I'm probably going to go 1-1, a draw on that one. Dale's putting he's giving me. Dale, you can't carry on doing that. Then I don't have to read your message on here, so then you can put your ones on there. Everton, West Ham. Everton under Sean Dyche, they've been a lot more stable, a lot steadier, and we were lucky to the first time we met them was their first game. We have won up that way. It's a difficult place for London clubs to win up in the Northwest. West Ham had been on a poor run, but won 4-2, I believe, against Brentford. Bowen getting a hat trick. I've got this down as a draw. Anybody else got anything different? I think it's going to be a hard fought draw.
1-1. I've got 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, I think I'm with the 1-1. Not the best game in the world. Fulham versus Brighton. Did Brighton play in the cup this week? I can't remember.
Yeah, they lost to Wolves.
Yeah,
1-0, I believe.
Lost to Wolves. Yeah,
which really has the potential to screw Arsenal even further.
Yeah, if they get through to the semi-final of the FA Cup, it could make a right tight spot on games for us. So Fulham versus Brighton. I'm going for a home win. Fulham winning 2-1 against Brighton. Trevor?
No, I disagree, Ferg. I think that Brighton don't have 2 poor performances in a row. They pick themselves up off the floor and they come back hard. And I've got Brighton to win at Fulham. I reckon they're going to win 2-0 at Fulham.
Okay, fair enough. Mike?
I like what I've seen from Fulham lately. Brighton they're definitely suffering that hangover from a team that isn't accustomed to playing twice a week and playing in Europe, just kind of not reinforcing their squad too much and selling a couple players and falling down the pecking order. So you're seeing some surprisingly dire performances from them lately. And I'm probably going to have to go Fulham on a 2-0. I think Brighton's just having a rough time of it now.
So two of us are going for Fulham to win, and Trev's gone for Brighton to win. Everybody else, get your comments in, but your predictions in the comments, and we'll go from there. Newcastle versus Wolves. Eddie Howe under a little bit of. Is he under pressure yet, Mike? Do you think he's under pressure?
I don't think he's under any pressure during the season. I think if they end up coming eighth or something like that at the end of the season, missing out on Europe altogether, I think he could get the sack. They may look to bring in one of those bigger names that typically circulate around the top level clubs to try to get them up there. But I don't think that he's gonna. I wouldn't see him losing his job in season with a few months to go. And I think they'll snap back. I think they'll snap back and have enough in this game. I mean, it's not like Wolves have been pretty good. They've beaten Chelsea on away from home. They've done the double on Chelsea, actually, including the home match. But I would probably lean towards Newcastle, maybe 3-1 in this one.
Trev, we've been up there. Newcastle can be quite a fortress with the noise of the Toon Army. But Wolves are one of these dark horses in the league at the moment. They seem to, because they're probably, I don't know, they just seem to be growing. Everyone has less expectation from them, but they come out with those surprising results. Sorry, what's that?
The coaching change really turned them around quite a bit.
It did.
Indeed. They had a decent win last week, Wolves. I backed them last week, Wolves. Or they were only playing a small side, but they went away and they won, Wolves. And I think they're going to really give Newcastle a good game. Newcastle a bit hit and miss. I agree with Mike completely. I was thinking about Eddie Howe the other day and just what position he's in. And it reminds me of the early days of the Man City realm, when they had managers and I don't think that Mike's exactly right, I reckon. I can't see Howe going during this season. But it wouldn't surprise me if Howe went at the end of the season, regardless of how well Newcastle do, to be honest. I think I reckon they'll have their eyes on a big name and they'll move them in at the end of the season. This was the hardest one for me to choose, Newcastle Wolves. It really was. But you know what? I'm going to go for Wolves to nick a win 1-0 at Newcastle. I don't know why, but I am.
Yeah, I think injuries for Newcastle they're really suffering. They've conceded more goals than any other team in the league. They've just had a battering by us last week. More goals since Nick Pope got injured in December. So I'm also going to go for a Wolves victory. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Wolves. We've already done the Forest Liverpool one. Let's see how many goals Palace are going to beat Spurs by. We did say this had an Arsenal twist to it. So it's automatically Spurs -4. How many goals? New manager at Palace. He's doing great. He did, all his players are going to be miraculously back into full contention. What are we reckoning on this one? In all seriousness, Mike, what are you reckoning on this game? It's Spurs at home. Spurs are normally okay at their own place.
Yeah, this is going to be one where my prediction is more with my head than my heart. It's an emotional hedge, and I think Spurs probably get on the scoreboard a lot in this one. I'm going to go with 4-2 to Spurs. 4-2 to Spurs. These are predictions, not goals and desires. I have to separate the two.
Magic Mike, enjoy your last appearance on this podcast, mate.
I told you it was I'm saying one, I'm zigging when I should zag, but
swim away.
We're also looking for a replacement for Monday nights because Dale's gone. He's out of it. He's finished. Listen, right. Palace have got a very good squad of players that have had injuries, still got injuries, but Roy Hodgson knows what he's talking about, right? And Roy Hodgson said that the Palace side are too good to go down this year. And I absolutely agree with him. And I think they're playing a team people have started working out Postecoglou's game plan. The Spurs are not getting as many good results as they were earlier in the season. So I think Tottenham will score, but I think it'll be maybe Tottenham 1, Crystal Palace 14.
I think it might be unlucky for Tottenham 13-1. No, seriously, I think this might be the upset of the weekend, if I'm honest. On a game that people would expect Spurs to win. With Palace having the new manager, it's the second or third game into his reign. I do think they're going to start to come good. I'm going to go for a Palace win. Score's going to be difficult. I'm probably going to go 2-1 to Palace. And finally, on Saturday, the late kickoff.
Sorry, son, I don't want to cut you off. I just want to make sure we acknowledge Melvin's comment there because it's really important. I know I touched on it. Yeah, absolutely. New manager bound to Palace. I mean, Hodgson has obviously been poorly, and it maybe he's not been working as he could, and so the new manager is absolutely going to go in there and lift Palace. I'm sure of it, Melvin. Great point, mate.
And it's a derby. Palace, their away support, they do make a lot of noise. They are very vocal. They've got a large section similar to the Ashburton Army, if not even more vocal, and they will make themselves known in that stadium. The final kickoff of Saturday is the 5:30 kickoff. Luton, who surprised people and doing quite well, and Villa, who are probably overachieving in my view, but with a manager that probably underachieved with us, with Unai Emery. Where are we looking at? Two great managers. You know, I do like the Luton manager. I think he's down to earth. He's built upon a championship side, kept the side together, and added in a bit of good journeyman Premier League quality players, like, you know, the likes of Barkley and so on, and added the strength to the core he'd already got. And I think, you know, they've come here to enjoy the Premier League for a season. They probably know they're probably going to go down, but they mightn't. They're in it for a laugh and enjoying the football, and you can clearly see it. Really difficult ground to go to. Trevor, did you go to Kenilworth Road this year?
I didn't go to Kenilworth Road this season, Fergus. No, it wasn't work day, and I'd have struggled to get a ticket anyway, in all honesty. But I'm finding Luton to be a really interesting side this season. I watch them one week and I think, my God, they're poor. And then the following week, they absolutely blow your socks off and put in a superb performance. But what you just said, Fergus, about Unai Emery, you know me, I say it on almost every podcast. I think the world of Unai Emery. I think he was hard done by our great club. He had an impossible task. And I know that he's a magnificent manager. And I wish him all the best, actually. As long as he loses to Arsenal, I don't care what he does. I don't care if he wins every other game. I think this is going to be another high-scoring game, you know, very similar to when we went to Kenilworth Road, yeah? I've got Villa to win it, to nick it, but I've got a high score. I've got Villa to win 4-2, mate, I have.
Wow. Mike?
Every few years, there's a Premier League team that is just so much fun to watch. You don't care whether they win or lose. You just like to watch them if you're deciding between a couple of games. And, you know, here in the States, we actually get to watch any 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. game that we want. So, you know, even when they're not in one of the featured spots, you can still watch them if you choose to. And Luton is that team this year. I remember some time ago, the last time Blackpool was in the Premier League, I think they were just an enjoyable team to watch, because they just give up loads of goals and they'd score buckets as well. And Luton's got a pretty interesting attack. I really like that Adebayo player. I think he's going to probably make a move over the summer to a bigger team, especially if they get relegated. But their games are just super high scoring. They can win some, they can lose some. I'm going to say I have a similar feeling to Trev as far as the goals are concerned, but I'm going to go with 4-3 to Luton, which, you know, that score line you don't see very often, but I think you're more likely to see it in a game like this than you are for most of these other ones. So Luton 4, Villa 3.
I think it's not going to be as high scoring. I think there will be goals. I think Luton is a difficult place to go to. I remember watching our game, and you could hear the fans literally practically touching the backs of the players as taking throw-ins. Arteta got a yellow card for encroaching on the pitch, but he was still sitting on his seat virtually. I think it's going to be 2-1, and I'm going to go 2-1 to the home side, 2-1 to Luton, and I'd be happy for Luton to try and secure that position. It's really, really funny around the bottom at the moment, because all these point deductions that Everton now are on in 6, but with impending probably more points getting deducted. Same with Forest as well. So that the season might end, but not end till June is absolutely ridiculous. Sunday, 1 o'clock, earlier kickoff is Burnley versus Bournemouth. How many goals are going in the Burnley net this time, Trev?
Burnley have been awful, haven't they, the last few weeks? They really haven't performed at all. And I think to myself, when does this bad one of theirs end? When does it end? Because all the relegation teams pick up points here and there, them that are in trouble. And I think this week might be the week for Burnley. I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they're probably going to draw at home with Bournemouth, Fergus. I think they're probably going to draw at home with Bournemouth. I've gone for a 2-2. Bournemouth are playing quite well at the moment. Burnley are struggling, but Burnley's home advantage. I'm going to go for a draw.
Okay. Mike, your thoughts on this?
My thoughts on this is that you really have to be either just a degenerate gambler or an absolute freak of a football fan to even give two shits about this game. Burnley and Bournemouth, I can't imagine a matchup in the Premier League that is just less important than this, other than to the people that support either one of those teams. But because I respect the format and I respect the individuals who run this podcast, I would never say or do anything to either take the piss or anger either one of them. I will play along and go with 2-2 for this game, and I have absolutely no reasoning or desire to explain it any further.
I actually like
Vincent.
I think that was okay. A couple of swears, but hey, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot where I was.
I like Vincent Kompany. I liked him when he was a player. I liked him when he done a few times. He'd done punditry on Match of the Day. I watched the documentary about Burnley and the way they got promoted after a season down in the Championship. And I really like what he's doing with the club. He sticks by his convictions. I also like what Burnley are doing with him in the sense that they're sticking by him. Many other clubs would have got rid of Vincent Kompany by now. I would like to see Burnley get a result. I think Burnley are doomed. They are going down. Bournemouth, they're going to dice with death, but I think they're probably going to escape. This is one of the few games that if Burnley think they've got any chance of staying up, and they've got no chance, but if they've got any chance of staying up, they need to get a result. And I'm actually going to go for a Burnley win, and I'm going to go 2-0 to Burnley.
Whoa.
So, yeah, get that in your racker. Right, so the next game that we're going to feature, I'll just get rid of that for now. The next game we're going to feature, the last two games of the weekend we're going to feature are the Man City-Man United game and also the Sheffield United and Arsenal game. So if we look at the Man City-Man United game, the Man City are heading into a really difficult period of time. They've got 5 successive games against teams who are in the current top 7 within Man United at home, Liverpool away, Brighton away, Arsenal at home, and then Aston Villa at home. Teams that we've all said, clearly we love our own team, but like Liverpool, Brighton, and Villa, we've all said are really, really good teams. Both sides are in desperate need of 3 points. City are second, and with those fixtures in mind, they need to get a good result. And Man United are currently sitting in 6th and need to try and get into that top 4 position just for the amount of money they're spending in an FFP and look for Champions League next season. Mike, what's your thoughts on this game? It's the big Super Sunday. It's the big game of the weekend for everybody.
Looking forward to watching that one after I get home from the Arsenal women's North London derby that I got a ticket for this morning, which should sell out. That'll be a nice post-game treat. And obviously I will be hoping that City drop points, but not expecting them to. Between being at home, they weren't at their best against Chelsea a couple of weekends ago by any means, but I think that they've kind of worked some of those things out by then, and are firing on all cylinders, unfortunately. So I think United will be on the other end this time of an 8-2.
Oh, wow. Trevor, United had started the season 7 games unbeaten, but they were defeated last weekend. Not that we reminded anybody that we know who lives close to Highbury. Fulham got beaten by Fulham beaten Man United last weekend, but that really dented the top 4 hopes because they're 3 points behind Spurs and they're 5 points behind Villa. Yes, they've got a game in hand in there as well, but it's a big ask from them. Top 4 has got to be their target, hasn't it?
I don't think they're capable of that, Ferg. I honestly don't. Look, I've been thinking about this game and looking at this game closely, right? Because obviously, apart from our own game, which we're involved in, this is the most important game for Arsenal this weekend, I think. And I'm desperate for Man United to take something off of City, but I can't see. I've looked at all the players on either side, and I just can't see where Man United break City down. I can't see where they make inroads into Man City's midfield and defence. On the Man United subject, I've got to drift a little bit because I watched the BBC FA Cup last night, the game live, and before the game, the BBC were really, really giving Bruno Fernandes, all the praise of that, and it actually made me feel a bit physically sick, if I'm honest, because that means he's gone to the toilet, Mike. He can still hear us, but he's gone to the loo. It made me feel a bit sick because Bruno Fernandes was all over social media last week, being proven to be the biggest cheat possibly in the game of football. It was embarrassing. But putting that aside and coming back to the game, Man United remind me of us of a few years ago in that they'll play all right, but put them under a bit of pressure and they break. They break easily, Man United. And I cannot, especially with De Bruyne back for City, who is absolutely purring. Haaland scoring 5 goals during the week. I can't see Man United getting anywhere near Man City. I really hope I'm wrong. I really want to be wrong.
What do you think, Trev, happened against Chelsea then? Because, I would say the same things you're saying about Manchester United. And I know I've just picked Manchester United to get slaughtered in this game. But where you say I don't see anywhere where they can break them down, did Man City just have one of those games where against Chelsea where you just didn't come out to play properly and they were lucky to get something? And is that something that could happen against United as well?
Yeah, I'm hoping so, Mike. I genuinely do hope so. But the law of averages say you're going to have one game in the season where it doesn't matter how well you play, you're not going to win the game, right? It happens to every club. And I honestly think that, if you put City up against Chelsea, City are going to beat Chelsea 9 games out of 10, And I think that's what happened. I think Chelsea probably raised their game and Man City weren't at it. But I can't see it happening against Man United. I think if Chelsea play Man United, they beat them more games than they lose. Man United are below that level. So I'm hoping and I'm praying, not being too much of a religious man, but I'm hoping and I'm praying that Man United could get something out of the game. But my expectations of Man United getting anything out of the game are absolutely zero. I'm actually going to go for Man City to win 4-0, I think they're that good. I really think they'll turn Man United over at the weekend. Please let me be wrong. I'm not putting that one in Miyaka this week because I want to be wrong. So I'm going to push that one to one side. But I've got Man City to beat Man United 4-0.
Mike, Højlund was their only hope, really, of scoring some goals because Rashford... Oh, by the way, I wasn't going to the toilet. I was just taking off my American football Patriots top, which I put on because we were talking to a fellow Yank. I was putting on my Arsenal top, and then it fit quite well, so I had to pull it down and it took a few times. And then my earphones fell out and my glasses came off. So yeah, it was a bit of a panic, But Højlund,
Patriots like supporting the Manchester United from 20 years ago.
I only support the Patriots because my brother bought me that top. He lives in Boston. I don't support them. It's just a top. Højlund's out, so he's going to be out sidelined through injury. They've met each other 10 times since 2020 in the last 14 years. Man City have won 6, Man United won 3, and they've drawn once. I can't even see a draw. Can you?
No. We've just talked about this while you've been gone, mate. We've done it all.
That's all done. Okay, and did you give your prediction then, Mike? You did?
Yeah, I went 8-2 for Manchester City.
Did. Yes, I did heard that. Well, I'm going 3-0 Man City.
You didn't
and you could look at the 8-2 sorry, you could look at the A2 as a joke, but then like, didn't they just lose 7-0 to Liverpool last year? And I mean, it's not that outside the realm of possibility. So I'll stick with it. Sorry, Trev.
Yeah. No, I agree. You've not said why you've come up with 3-0, Ferg. I mean, I'll
I've come up with 3-0 because I don't think Rashford is good enough. His head's up his own proverbial. He doesn't want to play for Ten Hag. Hoyland is their only option up front, who I think he's a good player. So I can't see them getting a goal. Their defence is old, decrepit. Their midfield is not great. And even an off-form Haaland, which you've got at the moment, will easily get 2 or 3 goals against.
It's crazy to say someone's off form when they just scored 5 goals in a game a few days ago. But
no, but you understand what I mean.
To the words out of my mouth.
No, but you understand what I mean. Like, people have been saying at times that he doesn't look like he was substituting last week in the Premier League, and they were coming along and said he didn't look very happy and stuff like that. So that's where I was coming from on that point of view. Yeah. Right. So every game is a must win for Sheffield United as they bid to avoid an immediate return to the Championship. They're rooted at the bottom of the table and have been for the majority of the season. They're 8 points from safety. A victory at Luton a couple of weeks ago is when they scored most of their goals, but they also had a 5-0 defeat to Brighton the following week, which saw any belief they had shattered. Arsenal, on the other hand, we've had 25 goals and conceded 3 in the last 6 games. Sheffield have conceded the most goals at this stage in the Premier League history, and Arsenal have scored 62 goals already. Yet, listen, it's going to be a long, long, long day. I'm not trying to jinx it, but one would expect that. Let me put it this way: we have got a game going on in the pub where you got to get to 21 goals, and one of the guys in the pub is on 18 goals, and he's got Arsenal. And you have to land exactly on 21. So he needs Arsenal to beat Sheffield United by 3-0. And everybody in the pub is saying he's going to go bust. Because if you go over to 22, you go bust and you're out.
Well, no, because we got 6 against West Ham, 5 against Burnley, 4 against Newcastle. So he's golden.
He's golden.
I mean, it's obviously going to be 3 in this game. But yeah, He could very well go bust. I mean, you should really at this point just be picking teams that don't know how to score more than one or 2 goals a game.
Yeah. Who? If we look at the game itself, who are you expecting to line up? No change in the starting 11. It's going to be the same starting 11. I know they're talking about Jesus may be available. They're also talking about that Partey. Okay. I don't believe it. May be available as well. Would you be putting Partey out, or would I personally? I think I'd rather have Jorginho starting.
Yeah, in this game, I think, given the fact that we did not have a midweek game, in fact have had 8 or 9 days from the previous game. It's going to be the same starting 11 that we saw last weekend. I mean, Kivior will stay in there. Jorginho will stay in there. Trossard, came off the bench in the last game because Havertz started up top. Is that right?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I mean, just knowing the way Arteta looks at things, I think that's exactly how he'll set up. And if Gabby Jesus and Partey are fit enough to make the bench, I think they'll play them. I mean, they'll put them on the bench. They'll start them on the bench, and maybe a 15 or 20 minute run out at the end of the game, which sets them up to play more minutes on Tuesday or Tuesday week.
Tuesday week, yeah. We haven't got many games. And just for clarity, on your podcast, every time you use a UK or English colloquialism, you hit the bell, so people aren't going to even know what the bell is all about. Yeah, you can ring my bell. All right.
Ring my bell. I'll bring the bell. I'll bring the bell for the car trip up to. Sheffield.
No. You are not allowed to bring the bell. They're not allowed in high class executive motors. You know what I mean?
Used BMWs.
I use them first. Trevor, your thoughts on this game? Jesus, I think on the bench, I wouldn't like to see him starting. There's talk about he's had a different knee injury. The guy is creaking a little bit. I'd give him as much time off as possible, because once we have to face City at the end of the month, it's all guns blazing with regards fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to see Jesus in the side on Sunday. I think it would be unfair to the lads that have been doing so well the last few games, to be honest. I've not. It's weird. I said earlier about Luton are a team of ups and downs, and for Sheffield United to go there and win was a shocker, because I know they've got a performance in them, as they've showed Sheffield, but when they came to the Emirates earlier in the season, Sheffield United were possibly the worst Premier League side I've ever seen come to the Emirates. They were that poor on the day. So I've not given Sheffield United team a lot of thought for Monday, because I know that as long as we play to our best, we'll win. We'll beat Sheffield United. As long as we don't have an off day, we'll win, and we should win comfortably. I like the Havertz Trossard partnership, the way they interchange nicely up front when they play together. I thought that Jorginho was absolutely superb last week and deserves to get another look in. Our back four at the moment, regardless of who's injured or not, our back four at the moment is picking itself. They're playing superbly, not only as individuals but as a unit. They seem to be playing really well. So if it's not White, Gabriel, Saliba and Kivior, I'll be very surprised. And then we know he likes to shuffle it about up front a bit. So who will he pick? I mean, if we pick Jorginho, does he leave Havertz out, or does he leave Trossard out? Because he's playing a slightly midfielder. We talked about it last week, and we said the same thing, and I'll say it again now. All the problems that Arteta has got at the moment at Arsenal, regardless of injuries, are good problems, because he's having to pick a side from probably 14 or 15 players that are performing really well. So I'm expecting to see an unchanged side from last week, but then knowing Arteta like I do, he'll probably take the opportunity to change things around a bit. Who knows? But to go back to where I started, I honestly haven't given the Sheffield United team any thought at all, because I know that if we play to our best of our ability, we'll win, and hopefully win comfortably.
How many goals will Gabriel score off of a corner in this game? 3, 4, or 5?
That's an interesting thing. It depends on where the corners come from. If they come from the left or the right.
Yeah.
Now
we were talking in the chat this morning. I mean, it's crazy how such a good footballer and Bukayo Saka could be so poor at corner kicks, and it just reminds me of Santi Cazorla when he could do anything and everything you wanted him to do except clear the first man on a corner kick.
We've had 19 goals from set plays this season, which I think is the highest in the league. The addition of Declan Rice has made a huge difference. But as we said in that WhatsApp chat, Saka as world class, because anybody in the top 10 teams in the world would want Bukayo Saka. I got the name right. Would want Saka in their squad, so therefore he does classify as world class. I don't know. I think set pieces may come into it to try and break down this side, because I think they are just going to put 5 at the back, 4 in the middle, and stick 1 up top. I think it's going to be really hard to break down Sheffield. They've only kept 1 clean sheet though all season. 19 losses, conceded 66 goals. They've had 3 wins. What are we doing score-wise then? Mike, score prediction?
Well, you know me. You know what I do. You know my policy on this.
Red wine all over your top.
No, not that policy. That's a different policy. My prediction policy, I cannot predict Arsenal to win. Anytime I do, I get made to pay for it. So I will do what I always do, and it works for us. It has resulted in an incredible 2024 so far. My prediction for this game, and I would not put an ACA on this, but 2-2. Desmond.
Okay. Trev?
You have to understand the history behind my 2-2s, though.
I do. We were at West Ham, remember? We done a video. Yeah. I recall
predicted 2-2 before the Burnley game as well. So
Desmond,
you want me and Desmond to be chilling together before games.
I'm I think that your friend in the pub's going to bust. I do, Ferg. I think he's going to bust, mate. I'm looking for 5-0. I'm looking for at least 5. We're flying, and there's no reason why we should stop flying.
That's pretty disgusting. But... Sorry.
I've just read the private. If you people watching this now could see what's going on in the private chat with Mr. Magic Mike there, it's not that Paul's looking a bit green behind you, Mike.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! I would never do such a thing.
Add some more chlorine.
I want to try and stick to the football because it's the Arsenal and we've got to win. If we don't beat Sheffield United, we don't stay in the chase. We're going to beat. Let's be confident. I mean, I know why you've said your 2-2, Mike, and absolutely stick with your 2-2s because it's working for us. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm going 5-0 to the Arsenal. We're so good. I've not even looked at Sheffield United, but I can remember them coming to the Emirates. And if they doubled up on their performance from the Emirates, Sheffield United, they still wouldn't be good enough to beat us. They still wouldn't be good enough to beat us. All we've got to do is play to our best, get our back four working nicely. Mr. Rice with his energy. Rice's energy is off the scale. Rice's energy. Saka's been banging them in for fun again, which is really important. And a good friend of mine, I'm picking on here very slightly, and he ain't got a chance to reply. Bukayo Saka is absolutely world class. He's right up there. He'll be back. He's banging them in for fun again. Trossard's looking lively. Havertz is getting more confident game by game. I think he's playing better game. I love him playing a bit further forward. I really do. Martinelli's had
back to goal, Trev. Is back to goal play. The last time we saw a player playing like that, he's not at the level, but Giroud. Yeah.
He'll never be at the level of Giroud, but he does have some similar characteristics that you like to see out of a front man.
I don't think it'd take much for Havertz to go on a goal scoring run. It wouldn't. He's
on one right now.
He should have had another one last week. He should have had 2. So I'm looking at the Arsenal team and I'm thinking, who ain't playing very well at the moment? Who do we worry about? Who do we think we might have to watch and maybe they'll get subs during the game? And I can't think of any of them. I can
think of one, Trev. I can think of one player that we'd all go, groan if he come on. Well, not all groan, but we'd all be
Eddie Nketiah.
Eddie Nketiah. But Eddie Nketiah got his first... Hang on. No, but if you're bringing him on, Eddie Nketiah got his first hat-trick against his very same Sheffield United team in the reverse fixture at the Arsenal as well. So I'd be... If we got an early 2 goals at half-time, I'd always be inclined to... even if we went 3-0 at halftime, I'd be inclined to chuck him on and boost his confidence and his price.
Yeah, it's interesting with Eddie because we've not shown a lot of confidence in Eddie on this podcast. We've not been horrible, but we've not shown a lot of confidence, and he's not had much game time in the last few weeks when we've been winning, has he? So. Yeah, why not, Ferg? If we're 2 or 3 up and it's like half an hour to go, why not chuck him on? I've got me doubts whether Eddie's going to reach the heavy heights. He's a good striker. If Eddie went to another club, he could well bang goals in for fun. But he's, and his record at Arsenal, believe it or not, isn't that bad with goal scoring, is it?
No, it's not bad. It's just that there are things that he can't do that other people can, and that's the difference. And it's not always going to be a situation where a finisher and a guy who can poach is going to be of as much value to us as someone who can do what Gabby Jesus does or what Kai Havertz does up top, or even Trossard in some cases. So, I mean, the next 3 months for Eddie Nketiah are basically about will we be able to improve his market value for a summer sale. And you don't want to mess around doing that when games are in the balance. But like you said, if the game is done and dusted by the 60th or 70th minute, then I would have no problem putting him on. Yeah. He's the human version of Ole with the passing. Like when that happens, the game's over.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike, because I wasn't quite sure where I was heading when I was waffling then, and you summed it up very nicely for me, mate. I appreciate it. But yeah, I feel for the lad. I want to see him get game time and I want to see him score goals. But what we've got to remember is as well is that there's 2 points between the top three. And the goal difference, there's like 1 or 2 goals between all of our goal differences. So banging in as many goals as we can is really, really helpful, you know. We need to keep scoring.
At the top and the bottom, goal difference is going to make a huge difference, and goal scored will make a huge difference. And goal scored, I think we're well ahead of everybody else. Goal difference, we're 1 ahead of Liverpool. As you said, 2 points. But look at those on that screen there. We got 5 wins in a row. The last one we've actually, I think it's 6 all season, all year. First time we've done that in our history. Can we make it 7? I just want to see another a couple of reds on there for Liverpool and Man City. I've never wanted Man United to win anything in my life, but I really do want them to win this weekend. And I'll be cheering on with Rory and my brothers to make sure that Man United get all the support they need from their local team. to use that phrase. I'll tell you what, it's been great to see a lot of new faces in the chat. We got the Saskia Gooner, we got Carl. We got Melanie Kay, who's been in before. There's been quite a few other the neutral football fan. There's loads of comments in here. Clemens Fisher, is that Fisher? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. No, me anyway. But get used to that.
The weekend. Nice.
I always mispronounce everybody's name now. You met Clemens, did you?
Yeah, he come and introduced himself to me at the Emirates. Lovely fella, nice fella.
Oh, brilliant. I remember the guy.
Who's this bloke?
Don't know.
That name sounds really familiar, man. I'm just telling you.
I've got a video that reminds me of him, but the last time I played that, I got told off.
Yeah.
Demsek in the chat is is joining me on Monday night for the game. So if you haven't already met Kevin, you'll be seeing him on Monday night.
All right. Okay. No,
lovely man.
Virtually met him, but not in person. So it'll be really good to meet you, Demsek. So, guys, we'll be back on. Well, it won't be Monday, our normal slot. We'll probably go for Wednesday. I would have thought Wednesday next week to review the hopefully convincing victory against.
We're not going to live stream from the car on the motorway on the way up.
You can if you want. We've got iPhones. We can do it. I'm driving. I'm not allowed to do that. It's illegal in this country.
No, you're not allowed to. But that's why you're taking it.
Yeah, it can be done. It can be done. We haven't gone for score predictions. Then did you, Mike? You did give your score prediction, didn't you?
You're getting a little old, aren't you? We spent 10 minutes talking about the 2-2 and the Desmond.
Oh yeah. And I am going for a convincing win. I'm going for I want Gary in the pub to go bust, so I'm going to go for 4-0 minimum. So, but I hope I'm not being over cocky.
I am. So don't worry about that.
What's that?
I'm going for 5, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. My voice is starting to go again. This lurgy, I think I was sitting. There was a guy in probably 2 rows ahead of me by the window on the plane. I'm sure he was infected with something. He had a bald head, grey beard, looked like Father Christmas, and he's probably giving me this. So
sounds like Danny. Sounds like Danny Sweetman.
By the way, talking about the trip to Porto, thank you, Ryan. It was very nice of you to oblige and pay for the trip for us. It was thank you very much.
In all seriousness, though, anybody who was on the Vigo to Stansted flight, the 10:55 from Vigo on the Thursday, the flight landed 3 minutes outside the 3-hour deadline under EU 261. You are entitled to €250 compensation. Ryanair will do the conversion themselves. So you get about between £210, £220. Put it in. It's so easy to do. If you haven't done it, do it. It's free money. It pays for your away trip. I don't normally like doing that sort of stuff, but it's Ryanair. Who cares? They don't care about us. So, yeah, let's go for that. Guys, I suppose we should do this, really, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Guys, if you have been watching us on various platforms, he's gone for a swim. Yeah, for a second, I thought he went skinny dipping. We've got people on various platforms watching us, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you could go over to YouTube, click on the like and subscribe and ring that bell. So the bell. There we go. Ring that bell, and then you'll get notified when we go live again. We do this for fun. We do this as a hobby. We enjoy doing it. We have fun with people like Mike and even Big T's internet. Thank you very much, Mike. I can't believe you're going to be flying over here. What time's your flight at?
Leaves 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Gets in about 8 a.m. Saturday morning. I'll head over to the flat. I'll probably catch a nap, and then I'll be raring to go.
Wow!
And then
How far are you from the airport there, Mike?
Well, it's about an hour and 15-minute ride on the Piccadilly line now, isn't it?
No,
Florida. There.
Oh, here. From Tampa Airport, I'm about 45 minutes. There's a closer airport, but it's not an international airport. So,
oh, wonderful! That's not bad though. 45 minutes.
Nah, it's not bad at all.
No.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's Man United's territory, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to switch my allegiances to Florida teams. Just the nice thing about the only team I actually really, really care about being Arsenal is that it doesn't matter where I move. I could still be an Arsenal supporter.
No, listen, Michael, I've got some advice for you, right? I've got some advice for you, Magic Mike. We're going to have a few beers on Monday, right? So don't wear the yellow shirt, son. Don't wear the yellow shirt.
I'm staying away from the wine. Don't worry. My away games this year are now the yellow 89 shirt, but I will not be spilling anything on it. So don't worry about that.
Because you know what Ian Wright would say if you were saying I'll have a red wine.
What are you talking foolishness for?
Wonderful.
Guys, Christ, can you believe it? Mike, you can come again. Not on that pool, cleaning.
Stop it.
We've done it in under the hour. I can't believe it. Trev.
And there's an AST event in 2 minutes talking about Man City's 115 charges. So that'll be interesting. If you're part of the Arsenal Supporters Trust, you would have gotten a link for that.
Yeah.
Was it the Achill Supporters Trust? Is it?
It's not the Achill Supporters Trust. He supports the Arsenal Supporters Trust.
Sorry, Arsenal. I got my words.
I understand how that could happen. It could happen to anybody.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, you have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans, for Arsenal fans, all three of us, and Big T, massive Arsenal fans, home and away, and Florida. We support the Arsenal over land and sea and in our swimming pools. Up the Arsenal and fuck the Spurs.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans, for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.